We'll do it live! Fuck it!
I'm Liz.
This is Surly Amy from Skepchick.org.
I'm Keith from Sydney, Australia.
Hello, I'm Daryl Ray, author of Sex and God and The God Virus.
This is Rebecca Watson of Skepchick.org.
I'm Vivian Wheeler from Planned Parenthood. I am Devin Napoli from Planned Parenthood.
I am Richard Carrier.
I am Monette Richards from Secular Woman.
I am Stephen Olson from Carl Sagan's Dance Party.
I'm JT Eberhard, and I'm a he-thinker who loves the she-thinkers.
I'm Debbie Goddard. I'm from the Center for Inquiry and African Americans for Humanism, and I'm a human thinker.
I'm a Faisal, and I'm a he-thinker, she-thinker, they-thinker, it-thinker.
Hello, everybody. This is Dave Fitzgerald, and oh yes, I am a she-thinker.
Hello and welcome to Secular She-Thinkers.
You guys didn't fit.
Where secular girls geek out and justifiably rage. I'm your host, Dory, joined by my co-host, Dirty Nerdy.
Hello.
And we're also joined by our surprise guest, Beth Presswood.
Hey.
All of us were surprised.
Yep. Today is April 25th, 2014. Tonight's topic is on Infertility Awareness Week. Yay!
Yay! I just have to, interrupt you and say that this wine I got is fucking delicious.
It is, and bubbly.
And bubbly.
Which means it's kind of hitting me a little harder than I expect it to.
Well, you had 2 glasses of the other wine on.
Yep.
So. All right, you can keep going.
Okay. We'll talk about how not to be an ass to your infertile friends, why adoption or in vitro fertilization are anything but simple, and the social stigma infertile couples and women in particular face. We also have the secret word, the boss and troll, how do I sex, and for the first time ever in She-Thinkers history, we do not have a stupid sexist song.
What? This is an outrage.
Well, it's okay, because instead, we're bringing you a secret subversive song.
Well, as long as there's also alliteration, I'm fine.
Alliteration is all that really matters.
Our listeners should know by now that content doesn't matter. It's only if we have approximate rhymes and alliteration. That's all we care about.
Yep. But first, let's have a word from our sponsors. She-Thinkers is sponsored by Audible.com. To check out their service and get a free audiobook of your choice, go to audibletrial.com/She-Thinkers. You can download books to your Apple or Android device and just about anything else you might listen through. Again, go to audibletrial.com/She-Thinkers to download any free audiobook of your choice. That's SHETHINKERS, She-Thinkers! Yay.
Yay. All right, so secret word?
I wonder if Beth was doing jazz hands too.
Beth, did you do jazz hands with us?
Yeah.
Yay! It sounded like she was lying, but whatever. We're atheists. We all lie all the time.
All the time.
I'm lying right now.
Constantly.
I'm lying right now about the fact that atheists lie.
Yep.
It's like lie-inception.
Lieception.
Lieception. Okay, so secret word.
Yep.
Tonight's secret word is trigger.
Oh, where are those damn kids? They're a little late on the response.
You triggered them.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yep.
All right. So, trigger, also called a trauma stressor or trauma stimulus. They are experiences that trigger a change in mental or physical state as a result of a prior experience with trauma. Trauma triggers often affect those who suffer from PTSD, but not everybody who experiences triggers has or is diagnosed with PTSD. They can be as diverse as a specific smell or kind of noise, and they can also include depictions or discussions of certain traumatic experiences. Some of the most common have to do with depictions of violence, harassment, and rape. Many writers, filmmakers, and other media producers choose to include trigger warnings and content notes for material that contains the most common types of trauma. So while this can't protect everybody, because, again, triggers are incredibly diverse. Like, you can be triggered by the smell of roses, depending on your trauma that you experienced.
Like if you were Katniss Everdeen, for example.
Yes, like if you were Katniss. I love that series. Anyways, so while a trigger warning can't protect everybody, it does, that is your part in helping to protect many people, and it's an important part of creating safe spaces in online communities especially. Anything you'd like to add, Dory or Beth?
Well, I guess We included this one just because I was looking at a lot of blogs about dealing with infertility and how it sucks. And a lot of people talked about how they recognized that there were certain triggers that would make them, like, spiral into depressive episodes. Which generally can, like, and I know them feels, and it's kind of ridiculous. It'll be things like, I don't know, babies in cartoons and shit. And
yeah.
I don't know. It's not that bad for me anymore, but it's hard to deal with.
Hugs
early
if
on.
Wanted.
Yeah.
All right, so do we want to dive right into the trolls?
Yeah, let's deal with this troll.
Trolls. Who the fuck is Thunderfuck?
So
I haven't even looked at who the trolls are this week.
You're never prepared.
No, never. I didn't write the secret word or anything.
Nope. So our trolls are Huffington Post and Alaska Thunderfuck, otherwise known as Alaska Thundercock, otherwise known as Alaska from RuPaul's Drag Race.
Because I can't say the name of the show. That's funny. Okay.
Apparently, they think that trans activism and violence against trans people are hilarious.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. So Alaska Thunderfuck, like many a drag queen, has their panties up in a bunch about trans activists getting she-male withdrawn from RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh, okay.
And so Alaska's response to that was to make a video where she shoots a trans activist in the head. So that's cool, I guess. Except not really.
It's not
at
cool.
all.
I really don't see how a depiction of shooting a marginalized individual for being said marginalized individual and being an activist about it can be funny.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was just making fun of activism in general. Or I guess...
Which is still shitty.
Yeah, because, that's kind of important for gay rights, too. So...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, how dare you?
How dare you speak up for your rights, you trannies? That's basically what this whole video was.
Just, oh my god. I mean, okay, trans women are like the most likely to get shot in the head to begin with.
Yep.
Or anywhere else, or okay, what? No.
That's the best way of putting it.
Well, and what annoys me about all of this, like, uproar from the drag community about this is they constantly say it's just a word. Okay, if it's just a word, then why are you so upset about not using it?
I know. Why is it a big deal about just not using it? You can use a different word.
If it's just a word to drag queens and it's a word with a hell of a lot of negative connotations for trans women, then the solution seems pretty simple. Just don't use it.
Yep.
And especially don't make shitty, violent videos about it.
I got tired of having shitty discussions on my Facebook wall about slurs because somebody will post what I think is otherwise a great comment, but they'll use some sort of slur, like about people will use any.
Yep.
And then the conversation quickly derails into whether or not the word they used was acceptable, and I'm like, hey, stop derailing my thread. Right. And they would try to claim that the other people who called them out derailed. I'm like, no, you did by using a slur. So now instead what I'll do is copy the comment, hide it, and then send a message to the person and paste the comment in there with the slur deleted out or like blanked out, and I'll say, hey, I liked your comment, just take this word out. If you want to comment again, you can say the exact same thing, just use a different word here. And I haven't had any blow-ups over it. No one's even, when I do it like that, there's no blow-up. And they learn their lesson, and, it's like, I don't care, you want to use it on your page? Fine, whatever. Right. I'll kind of think you're a douche. But it's not my page. So, take it somewhere else. I've never had a problem, and I've had quite a few people suddenly be like, oh, I didn't realize that was a problem. And stop using the word.
Well, stop being shitty. Exactly.
Not to say that you shouldn't call people out, because you should. Not everybody has that policy like I do on my wall. But you totally should call out that shit.
That's what works for you.
Yeah.
So. All right. Well, I think Willy Wonka has something to say to Alaska Thunderfuck.
Doesn't he always?
Yep.
Wrong, sir. Wrong. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Thanks, Willy Wonka.
Yep.
I might walk down the aisle to your song. We can't talk about wedding stuff today.
No, we'll derail our own show.
I know. Damn it. You should delete that comment of mine and send me a message and tell me how to use that.
Should.
I don't know if you can do that in audio.
I don't think I can.
All right. What's tonight's boss? Who is tonight's boss?
Tonight's boss is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, sweet. WWE.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I guess. I don't know. Are there different WW things?
Not that I would know.
I don't know.
I wasn't a giant fan of it in middle school or anything. Maybe. A little bit.
Matt loves wrestling.
Well, I don't anymore, but, you know.
The most I ever got into it is my stepbrother liked it. So I, caught bits and pieces of it in middle school.
One of my cousins was really into it. Or both of them. I don't remember. But, yeah. So every time I went over to his house, we would watch wrestling.
I can see the appeal. It's a lot like superhero stuff.
Yeah,
right?
It is. It's really over the top. It's like a soap opera, but with violence.
Yeah.
And not like the crappy violence that you see in soap operas. Like better violence.
Worse acting, better violence, right?
Oh no, it's about the same with acting.
Oh, okay.
The acting's about the same.
But, so, Stone Cold Steve Austin was on a podcast Wednesday, and he explained why he doesn't respect Christian opponents of same-sex marriage. I kind of just want to play the clip. Maybe I should.
Do it. Will it play through?
Yeah, I think it will.
There's been a lot of fucking stuff in the news lately about same-sex marriage. Everybody's going crazy about this, and some of the churches say, oh, no, can do, you can't do that. I'm for same-sex marriage. I don't give a shit if two guys, two gals, guy, gal, whatever it is. I believe that any human being in America or any human being in the goddamn world that wants to be married, if it's the same sex, more power to them. And what also chaps my ass, Teddy, is that one of these churches, or some of these churches, have the high horse that they get on and say, we as a church do not believe in that. Which one of these motherfuckers talked to God and God said same-sex marriage was a no-can-do? Can you verify? Can you give us a 411 on that background and what your feelings in general on that subject?
It's like Louis C.K.
I don't have a problem with gay-sex marriage at all. I
don't have a problem with gay-sex marriage.
Leave me out of it. As long as it doesn't affect me, just...
I think the rest is just the host. That's the best part, anyway.
Which is still vaguely homophobic.
Which one of you motherfuckers talk to God?
The host was like, just leave me out of it. I'm like, it's still vaguely homophobic, but you're on the right track.
Don't get too homophobic or Steve Austin will whoop your ass.
Good, because Steve Austin. Which is a good step, because I do know that WWE had a ton of homophobic shit.
Yeah.
And sexist shit. So it's good that one of the stars, I guess, is like coming out and being like, hey.
Well, and I know I can't remember what his name is, but there's another, he's the big name right now, and he's sorry. He's against bullying is a big thing that he does, too, so I think the language is changing a lot in the wrestling world, it sounds like.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, go Steve Austin. You're a boss.
And Matt, keep me posted on changes in the wrestling world, because I think WWE doesn't even exist anymore. It's called something else now.
Yeah. I don't know, Beth.
I don't know. Anyways, I guess we don't have to talk about wrestling.
No, we're going to talk about infertility.
Which is kind of like wrestling with babies.
Wrestling with social stigmas and babies?
Yes. Yours was better. You're not wrestling with sperm. Okay.
Wrestling with sperm's pretty
fun. You want to talk about some myths or facts about infertility? I don't know what you wanted to start with here.
How about, why don't you start us off with tropes about infertility?
Okay.
Because that's where a lot of myths come from, right?
It really is. There are a lot of tropes in media, and like we've said before, media affects your point of view in life.
Yep.
Even if it's just fiction, like movies and books and TV that are all fiction, it still affects how you view the world.
That's how we learn how the world works.
Yeah, it's how you learn what's culturally acceptable and everything, and so it's not a huge leap to say that you might see something in media a lot and think that that's fact without even ever realizing that's where you got it from. So the first one that came to my head was it's called the law of inverse fertility. This trope is defined as the fertility of a couple is inversely proportional to their desire to have a child. So if you're watching TV or a movie and it has to do with somebody getting pregnant at some point, invariably, it'll either be somebody, like usually teenagers. This is where that pops up a lot, is a lot of teen dramas have to do with it. They'll have sex like the first time.
Yeah.
And then they get pregnant. First time. And then the flip side of that is it'll be like usually a married couple will be trying to have a baby, and one of them or both will be infertile in some way, and that'll be it. But that's not actually how the real world works.
Yeah,
they just have to do it like that to make drama because it's TV.
I mean, 1 in 8 people are infertile, so
yeah.
That's fairly common, actually.
Yeah. And most people don't, like, even people who aren't infertile most of the time don't get pregnant after their first time trying.
Yeah.
Like, that's trying to get pregnant. Doing everything that you're supposed to do to make your chances higher. You usually don't get pregnant the first time, even if you're, like, fertile as a bunny.
Your the chances for a woman under 30 per cycle, if she does everything right, and if she ovulates and the man has sperm, is about 25% per cycle.
Yeah.
Damn. Beth is on it with all the facts and shit tonight.
Well, I mean, think about it. Your vagina and all the other parts of your reproductive system are basically set up to destroy as many sperm as it can.
They are, because multiple birth pregnancies are really fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
So they want to try to, if you get pregnant, only have one.
Not only that, but they want to weed out only the strongest sperm survive.
Oh shit, I just spilled wine everywhere. Okay, hold on, let me clean it up.
Yeah, and most sperm are crap.
To be fair, a lot of eggs are crap too.
Yeah.
The vast majority of all eggs are crap. and you ovulate the good ones first.
Damn.
Of course.
You do. So
you
once
do.
You're
your
like,
most healthy ones.
30 something, and they're all.
Isn't it like the longer they're inside you, the more crap they are?
I guess
something like that.
I don't know if it's exactly that, or I think they have found there's some suggestion that your body does ovulate the chromosomally normal ones first, so that by the time you're 35, 40,
it's like, come on, 12-year-old, get pregnant already. I'm giving you the good shit.
Get it the fuck together.
Well, that's how it used to be.
Yeah. Now it's, the average age of menarche's gone down even more now, so.
Yep. So yeah, that's the first trope that you'll see in a lot of movies and TV and stuff, is the law of inverse fertility. All of the other tropes are can be vaguely related to that. The next one...
Well, what I hate about the law of inverse fertility is that it inevitably sets it up to where the infertile woman is supposed to be, like, spiteful or angry at the fertile person who doesn't want their baby.
I remember...
And that shit's just not fucking true, and I hate that bullshit.
They did that in Sex and the City when, what's her name? The sweet one?
Charlotte.
Charlotte couldn't get pregnant, and then the main character, what's her name, thought she was pregnant, and she was, like, freaking out, and she's like, well, at least you can get pregnant. And she was sort of spiteful about it for that one episode, but it ended up she wasn't... Carrie? Is that her name?
Carrie, yeah.
It ended up Carrie wasn't pregnant. Sorry, spoilers.
Whatever.
But yeah, that happens a lot.
I can't stand that shit, because I've never done that to a friend, and I never would. Like, my shit is not your shit, and your shit does not affect my shit. So The fact that you're getting pregnant when you don't want to be has no effect on my ability to get pregnant or not.
Yeah.
And it's just shitty to act like it does. I don't know.
Yeah, just like that song, like the last time I was
the last time you were on here.
Oh, yeah. I just remembered that. The infertile woman mad that...
I would die for that shitty song that we listened to last time.
Mad that the fertile woman is having an abortion. Like, what?
I don't give a fuck, man. You do what you need to do for your life.
All right, so the next trope around fertility is called wedding-enhanced fertility. Basically means that anytime it's when a female character has an unintentional but not unwelcome pregnancy the moment that marriage gets involved. So either she gets pregnant right before or right after the wedding, or right before or right after a proposal. They did this in The Office.
Yeah.
With the main couple.
Yep.
What's their names? I don't remember.
Pam.
Pam and Jim. I'm really bad with names.
I know.
Like, what's her name? The main one.
She's a ginger. You should remember her name. Come on.
She's kind of a ginger.
She's as much as a ginger as Ariel is.
No, Ariel's hair is way redder. Anyways, that's the one that comes to my mind, is they did it in The Office. She got pregnant, or found out she was pregnant right before they got married.
Yeah.
And they made a big deal about it because her grandma found out.
Yep. Whatever, grandma.
But yeah, basically it paints it as both parents are happy with the situation because they're like, hey, we're getting married anyways. That means we're totally ready for pregnancy.
Yep.
So that's the wedding-enhanced fertility. There's also... there are related tropes to that is babies ever after. So it's kind of like the end game of fairy tales, they get married and then happily ever after. It's actually, no, then they just have a lot of babies.
Isn't there another trope that's like babies fix everything or something?
Babies make everything better. I was just about to talk about that. There are a lot of movies and TV shows and everything that show that babies can mend broken relationships, restore someone's faith in life, and can even stop wars. Oh, what was that movie? Children of Men.
Oh, yeah.
No one could have babies, and she's pregnant. She's, like, the only woman to have a full-term pregnancy and actually give birth to a child in, like, 20-something years. And it's, like, the savior of mankind is this baby. It's a good movie, but still.
Well, I mean, people resort to that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is definitely a trope that people rely on in real life.
Which is sad, because babies are a lot of work. And
yeah,
if you're already in a bad relationship...
It's only going to get worse with a kid.
It'll only get worse. Like, I hung out in the... I was at the hospital for, like, 3 days, basically, with my sister when she had her baby a couple years ago. And, I was there when the nurse was there to, like, explain feedings and everything. You have to be up for a certain amount of time and all this crap. And Katie was just like... Sorry, my sister was just like, I don't understand how anyone does this when they're single. And I'm like, I don't understand how couples don't just disintegrate into madness.
Right.
Doing this. So yeah, babies don't fix everything. Not saying they're always terrible, but they don't fix everything.
They don't really fix anything.
No, they don't fix anything. Really.
You better have your shit together already.
Another pregnancy or fertility trope is, but I can't be pregnant. And this is the trope where a character finds herself, sometimes himself, pregnant, even though they are declared infertile by doctors. It happened with Xena.
Lesbians can't get pregnant.
She says, I love the quote for this is from Xena. Listen to me. Getting pregnant has a certain physical requirement that I have not fulfilled in a very long time.
Because she's a lesbian.
Lesbians. And I love that it points out that in television, this trope is often the result of an actress's real-life pregnancy. B'Elanna.
Yep.
They hid her first pregnancy.
Which is crazy.
Terribly.
Yeah.
I could tell, like, in the second episode when they were doing it. I was
of course, she's wearing that goofy jacket or
why
whatever.
Why is she wearing that jacket? Why are they only showing headshots? She's pregnant.
She's pregnant.
There was this awesome Tumblr. What's the show? Scandal, I think?
I guess.
One of the actresses is pregnant, and she's, like, part of the main affair that's happening in the show. And there's this Tumblr that has gifs of all of the most creative hide the pregnancy things. And, like, hide it with somebody's hand.
Nice.
With, like, a vase. Lots of vases.
Yeah.
It's great. But we used a condom as another one. They use that in Friends. It's basically a broken Aesop. It's supposed to be like, this can happen even if you use a condom type of thing. Sometimes it's only played off for laughs, like in Friends it was. But yeah, it's basically a broken Aesop.
Don't have sex, or you will get pregnant and die.
And then there's the ultimate, the surprise pregnancy, which is the law of inverse fertility hits so hard that the woman doesn't even realize she's pregnant. Sometimes they take it all the way to the birth. She doesn't know until she has a baby. There was a reality TV show.
There's a whole reality TV show about that.
It can happen. Sometimes you just don't know. And a lot of times, what's that movie, Saved? A lot of times they're not tipped off by the periods they miss, but by the morning sickness.
Yeah.
Which doesn't start immediately. People who write movies.
Well, and morning sickness isn't universal either.
It's not.
It's kind of that's a trope in and of itself.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like all these women just don't ever keep track of they just don't realize that they didn't have their period for 3 months.
Do.
Have periods for like 3 months or more.
Oh, that's true. Some people just don't, so that makes sense. I do the movie Knocked Out. It's the same one. She's like, I just thought I wasn't having it because of stress or something. Well, if you're normally having it and you're suddenly not,
might be something to check out.
And to be fair, you don't always. Sometimes you still spot and it appears like you're having your period. So there's always that.
Yep.
But
period's not a great predictor of being pregnant.
It's not, but it's a pretty good one. I'm going to top you off here.
All right.
There you go. Oh, no, we're out of wine.
Oh, no.
No.
I'm out of tequila and Kool-Aid. I should ring down for more.
Yes, you should. Ring down. All right, well, that's it for the tropes, basically, unless y'all had more to add. More movies to talk about.
I just wanted to joke that the...
Juno had at least 3 of those.
Yeah, probably. I was going to joke that... because I have pregnancy dreams from time to time. I think it's like... If I were able to ovulate, I think I only have them when I would be ovulating. And every time I have pregnancy dreams, I go through the but I can't be pregnant trope every single damn time. Like, even in my dreams, I'm an aggravating, skeptical atheist. And Chris always gets pissed off in my dreams that I'm pregnant.
And then you wake up pissed off at him.
Yep. No, I wake up freaked out, and then I'm like, oh, it's Cole.
Oh, that's right. I'm not pregnant.
Like, I cannot afford to have a child right now. It's usually how I wake up from pregnancy dreams. And then I'm like, oh, it's Cole. I'm not.
Dory, I don't think you have to worry about surprise pregnancy.
I'm just saying, it happens every fucking month. I have a pregnancy dream. It's ridiculous. They're stressful. I'm just saying.
It sounds like it. I would be stressed out if I had that. Okay. You want to move on to social stigmas?
Sure. Yeah, let's do social stigmas.
You studied this area.
I live this area.
I'm going to be honest with our listeners. I didn't study the tropes. I looked those up within 5 minutes and just remembered TV shows off the top of my head that fulfilled it. Because I read tropes all the time.
Isn't that a TV trope?
Yes.
Wasting your life on TV tropes.
TV tropes will ruin your life. All right, go ahead.
Well, Beth, you have our show notes too, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about how the social stigma of infertility is highly gendered. Even though men and women are equally likely to be infertile, but usually women are blamed.
Oh, yes. Barren. That's the word. I love this word.
Oh, God.
Barren. Because, men don't ever have problems with their sperm. And, and if you actually go to the doctor, the first thing they'll check is the damn sperm. Because it's so easy to just, jizz in a cup.
It's pretty easy for them to check.
It's the easiest one. Anytime I hear the word barren, I just have this vision of women with cornfields, like dead cornfields in their uterus. Every fucking time.
I have dead cornfields inside.
That's the image I have when anyone refers to a woman as barren. I'm like, that's terrible. She doesn't have a dead cornfield in her uterus. The fuck, man?
I prefer the term sterile.
Well, then I have an image of like a surgery room as like a surgeon.
Well, you know I make the sterile as a surgeon joke.
Yeah,
all
I know.
The time.
That's why I have that image. Like a sterile cotton swab is in there instead.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
That's what I have inside me.
Now, Dory, we don't have to get that personal if you're not comfortable discussing it. Okay. Oh, man. Beth, I'm sorry if I distracted you.
That's okay. That's a great word to stop nosy questions too. People are always asking, you know, if you're gonna have kids and stuff, and if you just say I'm barren, then it just that just stops everything.
Just be like, I'm barren. With a straight face. Don't say anything else and just stare at them for the next 5 minutes.
Exactly.
I'll drop the temperature of the room.
Did it just get cold and hot in here at the same time? It happened. But yes,
But yeah, I mean, sperm issues are like something like 30 or 40%, and women are something like 30 or 40%, and then the rest is both, or actually unexplained infertility is like one of the largest.
Well,
because they don't. There's not usually a smoking gun.
What always amuses me
is when it's in the uterus, because it's all women's fault.
What amuses me is when people are always like, "Well, women's reproductive systems are so much more complicated than men's," and I'm like, "You do realize that they're literally the same system, just repurposed, right? Like." The vas deferens and the fallopian tubes are the same thing. The ovaries and the testicles are the same thing.
Women's parts are just so complicated. So complicated. Sperm doesn't understand how it's supposed to work.
Like, sperm production could go wrong.
It has to do a bunch of math, figure out some, like, differential equations, figure out the area underneath the curve in order to get pregnant. I don't know. Just listing complicated things.
But yeah, I mean, like, there's just as many steps for sperm to go wrong as there are for an egg to go wrong.
I thought sperm was like one step, like, you know.
Boom, and it's done.
And boom goes the dynamite. I'm sorry, I had to do it.
The thing about sperm and stuff is that there's like almost no treatments. I mean, if you have bad sperm, the best we can do is try to find the best sperm out of that ejaculate and shoot it directly into an egg.
So it is like a gun.
That's the best you can do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not in vitro.
ICSI.
Yeah.
That's what that's called.
Yeah.
Intracytoplasmic sperm injection.
Damn.
There's that in insemination too.
Yeah.
If you like want to concentrate the amount of sperm.
You just put in a turkey base.
That only works if there's a very, very mild sperm issue, i.e. intrauterine insemination.
Yeah, I guess jumping ahead a little bit, but the I guess cheapest treatments would be like fertility medication, which is mostly just for women, and then insemination, which is mostly for like mild sperm issues. And those are the cheapest ones. They're still not, you know, super cheap.
They're still not as cheap as just don't use a condom.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not that cheap.
Yeah, and it can be crazy. Like, I mean, IVF, you're looking at $10,000 or $15,000.
Oh, I know. That's crazy. And that's just to, like, for the first, well, here's our first shot. Let's see if it works.
Yeah. And given that we now know the stats of a woman getting pregnant just under the best of circumstances, like, no.
Well, with IVF, the biggest thing is what you don't put back in, you can freeze.
Yeah.
And then usually included in that price is frozen embryo transfers, which even if they're not, they're only a few $1,000s.
What would terrify me about IVF would be because there's a way bigger chance of multiple pregnancies with IVF.
No.
I mean, they do it on purpose because they don't know how many fertilized eggs are going to implant and survive.
Okay, no, that's IUI.
Oh, okay.
Multiple pregnancies are through fertility drugs. The thing with IVF is you can choose how many embryos you stick back in. Most of the time, it's no more than 2. And with new techniques, we're getting down to where we can find the best one and put that one back in.
Sweet.
Awesome.
But yeah, the fertility drugs with sex or IUI, you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen.
Beth,
in fact, should probably know. It's actually cheaper to give everyone free fertility treatment. This has been documented. Than it is to have multiple births, like sextuplets, septuplets, octuplets.
Damn.
Cheaper to give everybody free IVF than it is to deal with one of those births.
Shit, man. Can I just say I'm really glad you agreed to come on the show tonight because you just know. I mean, it sounds like you know this stuff off the top of your head.
Well, I have looked into IVF very, very much because me and Matt, we're infertile. Mostly a bad sperm issue, and we've considered it, but money.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah, man.
Have you considered a GoFundMe?
Matt will never allow that to happen.
Get my wife pregnant.
Oh, there might be a few takers for that.
Beth,
But that's
Beth.
sperm donation.
I'm gonna get you pregnant. Okay. So
I don't think you or I can help get Beth pregnant, Dirty Nerdy.
I can try, damn it.
I didn't say we can't try.
All right, so we can get into the social stigmas a little bit more.
Sure.
A big one is that women are basically expected to be mothers.
Yeah, it's definitely asked a lot around marriage things, too.
It is. As soon as you mention, oh, we're engaged. Oh, cool. And then you're going to have a baby.
Yeah.
Like, we have a few steps before that. Got a few things to do.
Kind of need to get, careers locked down.
Want to travel. Want to wait until there's Star Trek.
It's as much a tragedy. I mean, oh, if a guy wants to be a dad, oh, well, that's cool and stuff. But, oh, my God, if you can't have a baby and you're a woman, you are broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another trope, actually.
Oh, my God.
It's a lot of shit to deal with sometimes.
Yeah. What was I going to say? It seems a lot like if a guy wants to be a dad, like is excited about it, people automatically treat him like he's a good father, regardless of, like, he could be shooting that baby up with heroin.
Right.
But, he wants to be a dad. He's a good dad. But if a woman, and if he doesn't want to be a dad, it's considered normal. Like, oh, well, guys, they get cold feet. But if a woman, has any sort of, negative feelings towards having a baby or doesn't necessarily want one, or even if she's infertile and doesn't care, people, treat her like she's shit. Like, oh, how dare you?
Yeah, I've got a few friends who straight up admit that they're not maternal. They don't want children.
Yeah.
They have no, motherly instincts or whatever, and they're cool with it.
It's like...
But there's definitely stigma against them, too.
Why would you encourage someone who says, I don't like kids, to have kids?
Yeah,
why?
I don't get that.
Why would you do that? No. I'm just going to drink straight from the bottle because there's still some in the bottom.
See, one of these days we'll have to have a child-free episode.
We should.
To get into all of that. I'm sure we know somebody who's child-free.
Another thing... A couple who's infertile and can't have children is not the same thing as a couple who chooses not to have children.
No.
Sometimes it overlaps, but it's not the same thing.
Yeah, child-free by choice is different than, just can't have kids. Infertility.
Yeah,
I mean, there's always the possibility of adoption, but, just because you don't choose to go through adoption doesn't mean you're just not in the same boat as a child-free person.
Yeah, it's not the same thing, and some people kind of treat it as that. Especially, I guess that's another stigma I've seen, or that's sort of a subtext. If there's an infertile couple and people feel like they're not doing enough to, I guess, overcome it.
Yeah.
It's like, well...
Like if you're an infertile couple and you decide you don't want to go through expensive processes in order to become fertile, then you're seen as like giving up, and you're like, well, there's better ways to spend $20,000.
Well, maybe I want to help raise my nieces.
And even like the reverse, like especially in the atheist community where we do have a very high population of child-free by choice.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do.
Infertility is sometimes like, well, that's good. Y'all don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I hate that shit.
Y'all didn't want them anyway. They suck. Kids suck.
Oh, I've hated that. I've heard that so much. We need to have like a shit atheist say thing, like annoying shit atheist say. One of my friends actually heard the opposite from some dude at an atheist meetup. He told her that he loves that she's an atheist and part of the atheist organization because the best thing she can do is have a bunch of atheist babies.
Ew.
Oh, I've seen that too. Oh,
yeah,
I've heard that shit
awful.
Too. Yeah, fuck, we can't get it either way, man.
No, we can't. It's horrible. It's like either you're infertile, not having kids, like even though you want to, and people are saying, "Oh, well, you don't want them anyways; they're terrible," and you're like, "But I do."
Or you're having kids, and they're like,
having kids, and they're like, "Way to go! That's the best thing you can do." What? I can't write or speak or go to protests or do anything else.
The best thing I can do is give birth. Really?
Like, the best thing you can do is go jack off in the corner. Do it now. Do not spread your sperm. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm not sorry.
But yeah, especially like marriage talk inevitably leads to child talk, which like Chris and I want to have kids, so it's not like I resent that so much. It's just that like I can't have kids, and
yeah. It might be a sore topic.
It is a sore topic for me.
It might just be a little raw.
People don't really think. I mean, I totally get that that's a normal question that people ask all the time. Is, oh, so are y'all gonna have kids?
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess. I mean, I don't want to say don't ask it because it's just a normal thing and people are gonna ask it, but. Be prepared to hear the answer because I tell people all the time, "Oh, we can't."
Yeah, it's
and
like,
then they seem uncomfortable, and I'm like, "Well, you fucking asked."
Yeah, just be mindful and expect to get whatever truthful answer.
If you're gonna ask, you better be ready.
I always tell people like, "Listen, if you don't want to know about my sex life, don't ask about it."
Yep.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that. Well, if you didn't want to know, why'd you ask?
Yep.
And
that's when people, I have two different ways that I respond to people asking about my sex life, and that's either to tell them it's none of their business or to get overly graphic about it and disturb them.
Nice. Can do the same thing with are you gonna have kids?
Yep.
You're like, well, since I don't have a uterus.
Yep. Well, I wasn't born with a uterus, so unless you want to donate yours. And even then, no.
What else did you want to talk about in social stigmas?
We can talk. Being infertile can really fucking suck emotionally. That can be a lot to deal with early on. I feel like it gets better the longer you deal with it, but it never really goes away.
Yeah. Like the longer you know about it.
It's kind of like any grieving process, I guess. If you want to have children, it's a grieving process. I guess if you just want to be child-free, it's not. But
it's like, oh, good for me.
Well,
yeah.
Even if you wanted to be child-free, even if you were never sure, to find out that you can't, that's a totally different thing. That's having the choice revoked out from under you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can see that too.
That can suck. Like, I was like, I was ambivalent for a long time, and then we tried for a little bit, and then we got checked, and then it was like, oh, no, if you want it, you're really going to have to go for it.
Yeah.
This huge, expensive treatment. And then it was like, well, fuck, Because to a certain point, some people leave it up to chance. I mean, there's a certain ambiguity with it.
Like, oh, well, I guess we're pretty much ready for kids, but we're just kind of leave it up in the air. We're just going to stop taking birth, using any type of birth control and see what happens. And sometimes that works out and sometimes it doesn't. That's probably what the boy and I are going to do eventually once we buy a house. We'll stop using any type of birth control and see what happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can understand where even if you're ambivalent or don't really want kids, that would be a downer. Like, oh, so if I wanted to change my mind in the future, I might, I wouldn't be able to. That sucks.
Yeah, I mean, one of my earliest memories is realizing that I couldn't give birth.
Aww.
And it's because my mom was pregnant with my sister. And I was like, when I grow up, I'm going to have babies too. And my mom was trying to figure out what I meant. And I remember she explains to me that I can't have babies. And so I was like, well, there's a clown in my tummy instead, is apparently what 3-year-old or 4-year-old me said. So
that's adorable.
Yeah.
See, I'm the youngest, and so I have a feeling that children who are like an older sibling get a certain inkling of the sex talk earlier in life than the youngest child does.
Oh, yeah.
Because you kind of have to explain there's a baby in my tummy.
Yep.
To the child. No, it's not a basketball. Please stop trying to bounce it.
Right.
But, so, me being the youngest, I never had that experience of seeing my mom pregnant or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
I think that's probably one of the biggest differences with older and younger siblings.
Yeah.
That and if you didn't grow up changing diapers.
Yeah. Well, my sister, I was 11 when my first niece was born, so kind of grew up changing diapers anyways, and I had two younger cousins.
Yeah.
So there was that. It's not like I didn't have experience in changing diapers.
But yeah, I mean, like, I've known for most of my life that I can't have children. And I know some people, like, take exception to, like, trans people calling themselves infertile, but, I don't want to father children. And even if I wanted to, I can't at this point. I think I've been on hormones for, like, 6 years or something. So,
yeah.
I'm pretty fucking infertile. So, whatever definition you want to go with.
I mean, that doesn't even make sense. Like, you're not infertile in the way that I accept as being infertile. Therefore, you can't say it. Like, no. Any doctor will tell you I can't have kids. Therefore, I'm infertile.
I can't give birth to children. Therefore.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean, when I first heard you talk about it and talk about how, you have wanted to carry a baby in your body and you can't, and I was like, wow, really? And it was just a total change in my mindset for that, because I would have said, well, that's a little bit different, but really the only difference is that you knew for longer, whereas I've only known for, I don't know, a couple years that me and Matt can't have kids in any normal way.
Well, I mean, I like the way Dory puts it, she was born without a uterus, which is true.
Yeah.
I mean, any woman born without a uterus would know from an early, from early on that she can't have kids, so I don't really, I guess I don't really see the difference.
And this will come back later when we talk about shit fertile people say.
Yes, it will.
When they say, oh, well, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And it's like, no, some people know with 100%, certainty that they cannot have children.
Yeah. And other diagnoses are, 99.9%.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the fact that we call people infertile who just haven't conceived for a year, I mean, that's the technical definition.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't conceived for a year.
About, sometimes I think I saw a statistic that maybe 17% of people who go through IVF and later have a spontaneous pregnancy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you don't know what the situation of the person you're talking to is. So don't say stupid shit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I went early on that.
But yeah.
That's fine.
It's definitely
We're
one of
shooting
them.
our loads early tonight, guys. But
must be one of the problems.
I hear that, like, impedes pregnancy. Just throwing that out there. Let your woman orgasm, damn it.
Hey, women orgasming have their cervix dips down and sucks up more sperm, apparently. So
I know, so they have a higher chance of getting pregnant.
Yep. So there is an evolutionary advantage to women coming. Assholes.
Hate that. That weird... It's almost like evolutionary psychology, but with the vagina. Where they're like, well, there's not really no evolutionary reason for a woman to orgasm, so it's not important. Like, how about I want to and fuck you?
I call bad evolutionary reasonings for things evopsych. I call them bad evopsych.
I do too, even if it has nothing to do with evopsych.
Yeah.
Sorry, legitimate evopsych. You have a bad name now. You gotta work hard to improve that. Do y'all want to talk a little bit more about treatments or go into birth alternatives?
Well, can we just say that, again, with the social stigma stuff, because this will tie back in with shit fertile people say, but people really do assume that it's, like, easy to have children when you're infertile. Like, either they assume that, oh, well, there's treatments for that now, and they have no idea of, like, how expensive they are or how involved they are. Or they say, oh, well, just adopt or just do this. And there's no, like, unless you can get pregnant by just not using condoms anymore, there's no easy way to have children. Like, It's expensive and complicated if you can't just get pregnant magically.
And what's funny is, as far as I know, I'm not infertile, and neither is the boy. As far as we know, we've never tried. But
surprises happen.
Yeah, surprises can happen, I guess, in either direction. But I did learn a little bit about what, like, the different types of infertility treatments or fertility treatments. I don't know which way to call it. When I was in high school, I had to do this paper for one of my English classes. It was like this: pick a controversial topic, pick a side, and argue for that side. And I picked the topic of whether or not surrogacy. Like, whether or not it should be legal, I guess. Legal surrogacy. I can't remember the exact... It was a little bit more specific than that.
Why would it not be legal?
Well, little old me picked... It shouldn't
legal
be.
in a lot of states.
It's not technically legal. It's not written into their code, basically, in a lot of states.
Weird.
So it makes it really complicated. It makes it to where, basically, the person has to, like, officially give up their parental rights... and then the others have to adopt it. Whereas states where it's officially written in their code, it's a lot simpler.
Okay, I could see that, where it's, like, streamlined in some states.
I started out, when I was first researching the paper, I was, like, against it. I thought it was unnatural or something. This is back in my weird Christian anti-abortion phase. And for some reason...
You believed a lot of things.
I believed a lot of weird shit. It's just not even... Yeah. But when I started researching that, I was like, well, if you're infertile, you should just adopt. That was my view. And that was my simplistic 16-year-old doesn't know shit about the real world view. Not to say that all 16-year-olds don't know shit about the real world, but I didn't at that age.
And say, well, you were also Christian and pretending to be straight, so...
Yeah. It's a hard life.
Yeah.
Hashtag the struggle. So yeah, I actually did a lot of research, not just on that issue, but on I decided to research how easy it was to do other types of fertility treatments, because part of my argument was that there are other types of treatments you can use so you don't have to use surrogacy, so it doesn't need to be written into law. Well, as I started reading up about all that, I realized just how fucking difficult it is and why somebody wouldn't want to do those things.
Yeah.
And I realized that having the most options open was the best thing we could do to make it the easiest. It's like, if we close off an option just because there are others available, then it makes it just that much harder. And, so I've read, this was like 10 years ago, but it really opened my eyes to, like, the whole, you can just adopt. Like, no, you can't.
There's no just adopt.
No, there's no just... Even if you make it through their whole process, some people already know that they would not do well with a child that is not naturally theirs. And just like I say, with not forcing people who don't like kids to have kids, I don't think you should force people who only want natural kids to have adopted kids.
Yep.
It can lead to bad things. Yeah, so...
Well, I guess...
that's my spiel.
We're close to an hour, so how about we go to a commercial, and then we'll be back with treatments and alternatives to birthing children.
Yay, I have to pee.
Okay.
10 responses to the phrase, man up. 1, fuck you. 2, if you want to question my masculinity, like a schoolyard circle of curses, like a sword fight with lightsaber erections, save your breath, because contrary to what you may believe, not every problem can be solved by growing a pair. You cannot arm wrestle your way out of chemical depression. The CEO of the company that just laid you off does not care how much you bench, and I promise there is no light beer in the universe full-bodied enough to make you love yourself. 3, oh, man up. Yeah, that's that new superhero, right? Mild-mannered supplement salesman Mark Manstrong says the magic words man up and then transforms into the 5 o'clock shadow. The massively muscled, deep-voiced leather duster-wearing Superman who defends the world from, I don't know, feelings. 4, of course, why fight to remove our chains when we can simply compare their lengths? Why step outside the box when the box has these badass flame decals on it? We men are cigarettes, dangerous and poisonous and stupid. 5, you ever notice how nobody ever says woman up? They just imply it. Because women and the women's movement figured out a long time ago that being directly, explicitly ordered around by commercials, magazines, and music is dehumanizing. When will men figure that out? 6, the phrase man up suggests that competence and perseverance are uniquely masculine traits. That women, not to mention any man who doesn't eat steak, drive a big truck, and have lots of sex with women, are nothing more than background characters, comic relief, props. More than anything, though, it suggests that to be yourself, whether you wear skinny jeans, or rock a little eyeliner, or drink some other brand of light beer, or write poetry, will cost you. 7. So how many boys have to kill themselves before this country acknowledges the problem? How many women have to be assaulted? How many trans people have to be murdered? We teach boys how to wear the skin of a man, but we also teach them how to raise that skin like a flag and draw blood for it. 8. Boy babies get blue socks. Girl babies get pink socks. What about purple? What about orange? What about green? What about cerulean, black, tie-dyed, buffalo plaid, rainbow? 9. I want to be free to express myself. Man up. I want to have meaningful emotional relationships with my brothers. Man up. I want to be weak sometimes. Man up. I want to be strong in a way that isn't about physical power or dominance. Man up. I want to talk to my son about something other than sports. Man up. I want to be who I am. Man up. 10. No.
Hi everyone, we're Dory.
And the Dirty Nerdy.
From the Secular Shethinkers.
Be free to love.
Be able to choose.
Be accepted, no matter your race, gender, sexual orientation, or belief system.
Be secular. Be Secular merchandise allows you to display your support for equality and the separation of church and state, while also donating up to 50% of the profit from your purchase to nonprofits, groups, and artists that support those same values.
Go to www.besecular.com, pick your item, and then choose who you want to get the donation from your sale.
Be you. Be secular. Hey folks, this is your host Dory, here to talk to you about the sponsors of Shethinkers, Audible.com. Did you know Audible has nearly 200,000 titles for you to choose from? They've got everything, fiction, bestsellers, periodicals, you name it. And because you're our listener, you get a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook just by going to audibletrial.com/Shethinkers. This week we personally recommend Arrested Development and Philosophy, They've Made a Huge Mistake, by William Irwin and Christopher G. Phillips. Is George Michael's crush on his cousin unnatural? Is it immoral for Lindsay to steal clothes to hide the fact that she has a job? Are the pictures really of bunkers or balls? Explore these questions and many, many more. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/SheThinkers. Again, that's audibletrial.com/SheThinkers for any free audiobook of your choice.
The Autistic Self-Advocacy Network is a non-profit organization run for and by autistic people. The ASAN engages in public policy advocacy, community engagement, education, quality of life-oriented research, and the development of autistic cultural activities. Visit their website at autisticadvocacy.org to see how you can help this organization. Their motto is, "Nothing about us without us." You don't want them to know about my horrible geographical skills.
Hey, we're back.
What's up, everybody? I totally know where Alaska is. We weren't discussing that.
The state Alaska, not the transphobe Alaska.
Oh, right. I don't know where that Alaska is.
I'm not sure either, to be honest.
Yay, geography. Need to have a Shethinkers geography lesson every once in a while.
That would be entertaining.
New segment. Alright, so we're supposed to talk about treatments?
Yeah, fertility treatments.
Okay. Y'all go ahead. I'll just sit in the corner and laugh. Or jack off, whichever.
So, I would like to describe IVF for people, if y'all don't mind.
Go for it.
Make it as graphic as possible.
Yes.
Okay, so this is what my doctor told me I would have to undergo. Is you would, have a period, either naturally or progesterone induced, and on day 3 you would come in, you would have blood drawn, and you would have a probe shoved up your vagina to check and see that there's no cyst.
Wait, did he use the term shove?
That may be some artistic license.
Okay.
That's the medical term. Dirty, dirty.
Your vagina to check and see that you don't have any cysts. So, and you are probably taking birth control pills for a few weeks just so you don't ovulate, so that you're a blank slate hormonally for that.
Tabula rasa. The sexiest kind.
Yes. Then, on or about, I think, the 6th or 7th day of your cycle, you will begin shooting yourself up with hormones. And Lupron, which will keep, you want to make eggs, but keep the eggs there so you don't ovulate. So you'll shoot yourself up for, could be 6 or 8 days or so, and every couple of days you'll come in and you'll have your blood drawn and a probe shoved up your vagina again to see how many eggs. And your belly is going to distend, and you're going to look like you're already pregnant because there's so much fluid and so many eggs in there.
But
then one day they're going to decide the eggs are big enough. Then you're going to take a shot of LH, luteinizing hormone. Well, actually it's HCG, which is pregnancy hormone, which means you'll actually test positive on a test if you pee on a stick for whatever reason. That will make you ovulate. Then they're going to go up into they're going to shove a needle into your vagina, into your vaginal wall, and pick off the eggs from your ovaries with this needle while you're under general anesthesia. Then you're done with that, so you're all right. Then they're going to take your eggs. They're going to mix them with sperm, which would be regular IVF. or they're going to shoot sperm into them, which is ICSI, intracytoplasmic sperm injection.
It's
they're
like
going
Star
to grow
Wars.
up the embryos. Most of your eggs are going to be crap. Most of your embryos are going to not live very long. And if they get some on day 3 or day 5, most people are tending towards day 5, they'll pick the best looking 1 or 2. If you're younger, they really shouldn't be putting in much more than that. They will freeze the rest in liquid nitrogen, and then they will.
This is metal as fuck, by the way.
They're going to stick 1 or 2 other embryos inside your uterus. You're going to have to take progesterone either shots or vaginally for 12 weeks, and you'll come in and you'll take a pregnancy test about a week after they insert the embryos. And if you do get pregnant, they're going to keep tabs on your hormone levels and have an ultrasound probably every week or 2 until 12 weeks, at which point you'll go to a regular OBGYN instead of a reproductive endocrinologist.
I just have to say, that was the funniest graphic description of IVF I've ever heard.
That was metal as fuck.
If only because I kept envisioning it as a Star Wars battle for some reason. And then you said frozen in liquid nitrogen, and it just reminded me of Han Solo.
I think we should just have
He wasn't frozen in liquid nitrogen, though.
I think if I ever have to have a complicated medical procedure done, I just want Beth to explain it to me.
Yes.
It's my favorite thing now.
Well, in June you're having a complicated
Yes, in June I am having a complicated medical procedure.
Learn all about.
I'll be glad to look that up and describe that to you.
Awesome. That's my foreplay.
Yeah.
Beth describing medical procedures.
Beth describing how my vagina's put together.
And then what incision do they make?
Oh, okay. Jesus.
So,
well, that's one treatment.
That's one treatment. Why wouldn't someone go through all that? I don't know.
It's just IVF.
Yeah.
It's just like sex, but with lots of needles and other shit shoved up there.
If you don't get pregnant on the first run, then you have embryo transfers, frozen embryo transfers, which that's a lot less of a deal, which is you just, they'll have you do a cycle, or you can come in on your natural cycle. They'll just put the embryos inside. You'll take progesterone, and they'll see if they took.
Why don't they just do that all the time, then? What? Why even bother with the first thing? It sounds... It's like we're going to try this super invasive thing first.
No, you have to get the eggs out and make embryos.
Yeah.
Just
so
use someone else's frozen embryos. I don't care if it's mine. Well, I won't know the difference. What?
Well, if you don't care if they're yours or not, then why are you going through...
That's called embryo donation.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
I'm going to say it. If you don't want biological children,
they can donate them to other people.
I just want the illusion that it's biological. The illusion.
It's not egg donation and sperm donation.
Yeah, there's always that.
I actually looked into donating an egg once, and it is hella difficult.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's the same thing as IVF.
It really is.
You just don't get any put back in.
Yeah, and you have to, go through all these tests and shit. I'm like, damn, I don't just get to go in there and masturbate like guys do.
Nope.
What?
Nope.
Although guys only get paid $50.
And a lot of places, there's a lot of restrictions on it. You have to have, some places you have to have a college degree in order to donate sperm. Like, what?
Hashtag creeping Miss Andre.
Okay.
But yeah, I had one of my kids was looking into donating eggs.
They pay you a lot.
And was like, they pay a lot, but there's no way I'm gonna pass all of this shit.
I know. I have to stop drinking for months at a time.
You have a friend what?
I had a friend that did donate eggs, and she showed me all the little shots she had to take, and She was a ginger, so she actually got picked really quick by an intended parent.
I always tell the boy, if he doesn't give me a ginger baby the first time out, we're getting a divorce. A ginger baby, goddammit. If I'm having a biological child, it better be a ginger.
You have to carry on the master race.
Well,
oh, God, don't put those words in my mouth. You take those words out of my mouth, Dory. You take them out right now.
What?
I don't know.
So if you want a ginger baby, you can do IVF. And on the third day, they will take a cell out from the embryo.
On the third day, he rested. I'm sorry.
Genetics of the embryo, and then you can only put in ginger ones if we do in fact know ginger genes, which I think
if you want guaranteed ginger babies.
Isn't that more expensive than just not using a condom?
Yeah,
that's a hell of a lot more expensive.
Just for a ginger baby? Like, I tried really hard to have you, kid. You better fulfill all my expectations.
She already spent her inheritance getting here.
I spent your college fund making you.
Yeah. Well, PGD is used for generally life-threatening diseases, so to prevent having kids with it.
There you go. Oh. All right. Well, the other, I guess the most common, I think it's like 90% of people who have infertility use either meds or surgery or insemination. Like, those are the most popular methods to treating infertility. Like, most people can go through one of those three and deal with it. I don't know why.
It just depends. I mean, like, I have polycystic ovarian syndrome, and most women with my condition, if they had a partner that has sperm, can get pregnant with Clomid, which is a very, very mild fertility drug.
Yeah.
And sometimes even just diet and exercise with PCOS will make you ovulate, so yeah. And then there's, surgery for endometriosis and all that, but, it just depends on your diagnosis and your age. Age is such a huge factor.
Yeah.
And if you're an older woman and your eggs are all gone, you can get eggs from other women.
Yeah, by older, just over 35. That's what counts as older.
Over 35, over 40.
Wait, you're 35 and a half? Oh, so old. Oh.
In the fertility world.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also media. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's true also.
I don't know. I was making that joke about women being called old when men at the same age wouldn't be called old.
Our last treatment that we have on our list is counseling, because, if you're emotionally vulnerable from finding out you're infertile, counseling can be pretty helpful.
Yeah. I was wondering, I was like, can that help you get pregnant?
I don't know that it can help you get pregnant, but it can help you cope.
It was just listed. It's just listed under treatments.
For third-party donation. A lot of reproductive endocrinologists do require that if you're going to go with sperm or egg or surrogacy or embryo donation, that you definitely have to have counseling. Maybe not for standard IVF, but if you're going to bring other genetics into the mix, then they will make you go to counseling.
So they probably wouldn't let me get an embryo donation just so I can have a ginger baby. Probably not.
No.
Damn it! What if I have the money?
Then yes.
Well, another country, you could probably find a doctor that could do it.
Then I'll just pay the counselor, like, here, just tell them this. Here's a 20.
By the time you and the boy have enough money to spend money on guaranteeing a ginger, you can just pay me to write you a letter as a counselor.
How ethical of you.
Yes.
Dory. Future counselor.
Future me.
How ethical of you, future Dory. I'm not going to do that, just so everyone knows I'm not planning on that.
Yeah, it won't happen.
Okay.
You won't find Dirty Nerdy in my client list anyway, so.
Yeah, I'll be under my real name, duh.
Joke's on you.
No one knows who I am unless you're really good at computers and can figure it out, because I don't hide it very much.
Yeah.
Well.
No, not really.
Shut up, Beth. You're not the boss of me.
All right. Let's talk about, I guess, alternatives to fertility treatments.
Yeah.
Like, if you still want kids, but they don't have to be your biological kids, what are your options left?
Which we've kind of touched on. I mean, the first one, the most obvious for people is adoption.
Which is not simple.
It's not.
We should. I mean, we're probably going to do a show just on adoption.
Yeah.
Honestly.
If anyone out there has ever seen 30 Rock, you know it's not simple. Like, they get hit in the head, and then you have to redo the whole thing because of amnesia. And that's not how it always goes?
No, not generally.
Damn it.
I mean, there's a lot of... I mean, for one, there's no such thing as just adoption. There's, like, open adoption and closed adoption and local adoption and international adoption and different agencies or private adoption if you're not going through an agency. Like, Chris and I...
in a penny saver, right?
Chris and I have done a lot of research on this shit already. It's not simple by any means. One of the things I kind of resent, like, I get it because if you have the ability to decide who gets a kid, I understand why you would make people jump through so many fucking hoops. But again, I just kind of, like, resent the fact that we have to jump through so many hoops if we want a child, and other people can just, like, not use a condom and have a child.
I'm glad I started a thing.
Like, I'm not trying to tell other people how to live their lives. It just sucks that our lives are complicated, I guess. Is that I don't want to shit on other people just because our situation's more complicated.
Yeah.
Well, so many agencies are religious too, so there's a big atheist angle to this.
Yeah, there is. That's Chris and I probably want to do private adoption, honestly.
What was it? The Catholic Charities. I forget what state it is. I think it was Massachusetts. They made it illegal for adoption agencies to discriminate based on sexual orientation, and Catholic Charities was like, "Well, we'll close our doors. Sorry, orphans."
Well, actually, I'm not sure if it was all adoption agencies or if it was just
I think it was like state-funded ones. Yeah,
ones that got public money, because I'm pretty sure that in most states, if you are a birth mother and you want to give your baby to Catholic Charities to give it to somebody else, they could use whatever, they could do that.
Yeah, it was...
You can do private adoption like that. I could contract with Dory to give her, my baby if I wanted. It just... If you're taking public money or kids that are surrendered publicly, then, you have to follow the rules. But they could have still done some adoptions.
Yeah, that's what it was. They weren't told, hey, you have to close up shop. They were told, hey, you're accepting public... They were accepting public funds, basically.
So you can't discriminate if you're accepting public funds.
And the thing is, I'm like, wait, the Catholic Church has money to pay out for lawsuits
for
pedophile
Church
priests.
Has a fuck ton of money.
They have a goddamn golden throne for their pope, and they can't, not take public funding in one state to take care of orphans if they really want to discriminate. It's like, yes, you can. And they did the same thing in Washington, D.C. It was a little bit different. They were saying they would shut down all of their charity organizations, including the one that did adoptions and took care of children who were in foster care. If they passed marriage equality, they said they would shut down. I don't think they ended up doing it, though. Because
terrorism.
Yeah.
They're holding themselves hostage.
Yep. So, they were being pretty shitty about that.
Well, that's cool.
Most private adoptions, if you're not getting... if the organization isn't getting public funding, they can basically discriminate however they want. And most of them are religious or at least have some sort of hint of religion in there. So if you're atheist or queer or any other weird thing...
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like...
You're SOL.
When Chris and I have been looking into, like, what all we're going to have to go through, because we're planners. So we've been looking into adoption for, like, the last 2 years or so.
What? Planning for children?
I know.
Who does that?
I know. But so originally we were...
Just gonna pop one out.
We were most worried, like, not about me being trans. We were way more worried about us being atheists and being, like, out and vocal about being atheists, too. That's what we were most worried about because so many of the organizations are religious, especially the Catholics. Like,
Those
I don't know
Catholics.
how they got their hands in
Man,
adoption.
I wanted to be
but-
married in one of their churches, and they were all, you have to be Catholic for this. And I was like, what? My rights? And then I was like, oh, wait, that doesn't affect my rights.
You almost pulled a freeze peach.
I almost pulled a freeze peach. Because frozen peaches are delicious, man.
Yeah. But Chris and I originally were going to do international adoption, but now we're leaning more toward private adoption just because we've seen what a change it can make in the person who is not able to have an abortion for whatever the hell bullshit legal reasons, but they need some means of getting the kid out of their hands. And so we've seen firsthand what a change that can make in someone's life, and so we're like, oh yeah, we totally want to do that later on down the road.
Also, Beth, I think I've seen you share something about this on your Facebook page. There's a lot of controversy surrounding international adoptions. Sometimes the children were not originally orphans.
That was the other thing.
They were just taken.
That was the other thing that worried Chris and I.
The Child Catchers. Anybody who wants to learn about that should read that book, The Child Catchers, by Catherine Joyce. There's so much corruption in international adoption.
Oh,
it's extremely difficult to know that you're getting a baby that's really been abandoned, that it doesn't just have poor parents, and that there wasn't all kinds of lies.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're just taking kids and just giving them away, and it's horrible stories.
I know that a lot of the times they're not telling the parents that they're giving their child away to another family to be raised as their child. They tell the parents that we're taking them to a school, they're going to get an education, which may or may not be true. Being adopted by another more wealthy family might get them a better education, but they're not telling them the full truth that, they're never going to see you again, most likely.
This child is not yours
anymore. It's not yours anymore, by the way. They're not telling them that.
The concept of adoption is, in some cultures don't even have that.
Yeah.
So it is a lot. There's a lot of problems with it. And that's not to say it's always bad. I have an adopted niece and nephew. And it can be fine, but you really, really got to check on this.
Yeah, you got to do your homework.
So many of the countries have closed now. The international adoption is almost impossible. There's waiting lists of 3, 4, 5 or more years.
Yeah.
And that's not even just for healthy kids, but even for disabled kids.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. One of the things, like Chris and I want to adopt as young as we can, which is, again, why private adoption appeals to me, is because we can basically just adopt the mom and help her with her medical bills on the way to giving birth, which I'm all for.
Which is almost like a surrogacy.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
It's a little different. Like, it's not using our genetic material or anything, but it's like, oh, you're pregnant and you need some help? Yeah, we'll help you with that. And we'll take your kid off your hands. But
yeah, the only thing is, they can change their mind.
Yeah, that's that's the biggest downfall with that one.
Which, they have every right to do.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we have, waiting periods and stuff, so that, the woman can change her mind if it comes to that. Because, it's going to be different after you give birth than before.
Yes.
And there was lots of coercion, especially in the baby scoop era, where, up to, I think, 20% or more of white women giving birth unmarried gave up their babies, a lot of times under coercion. So nowadays, it is a lot better, because the woman the birth mother has a lot of power nowadays to determine open adoption and determine the birth parents. So it's not like it was.
Yeah, that was one of the things I looked at when I researched all the laws surrounding surrogacy. In this, one of the problems people cite about surrogacy is coercing poor women to basically undergo pregnancy for rich parents, and that it's a form of economic coercion. And I'm like, okay, so I actually compared the states that have it written explicitly in their legal codes how surrogacy is supposed to work, compared to states that don't. And when you explicitly state the rights of the surrogate, the economic coercion is actually lowered. So, like,
yeah.
It's like, if you're worried about coercion, you want to make it legal so that you can police it. You don't want to make it, not necessarily illegal, but you don't want to make it all wishy-washy. That encourages abuse of the system, basically. If the more explicit the laws are about everybody's rights and responsibilities, the easier it is to navigate it, and the less likely there is for abuse of it, basically.
Yep. Exactly. So. Yes. I mean, surrogacy is a big feminist issue. I saw like 2 articles about it on RH Reality Check just this week.
Yeah.
but the thing is, it's not going away.
It's not.
And it's already happening, and banning things based on the fact that you don't believe women have agency is sort of an anti-choice tactic.
It really is.
And that's one thing. I think we need to have a show that's about reproductive rights that isn't necessarily about abortion, because there are a lot of issues there where women, it's reproductive choice isn't just about whether or not you're allowed, you can have an abortion. There are a whole host of issues.
Well, there's been lots of discrimination in the fertility industry.
Yes.
I mean, we saw the pregnant man, and he had OBGYNs and REs refuse to work with him, refuse to give him proper treatment. And that's a big thing for unmarried women, for gay couples, for trans people. The right to have treatment is as important as the right, to get an abortion.
Yep.
Yeah. That's why I say I think we need to have like a whole show that just focuses on those issues, because a lot of people, they hear reproductive rights and they just think abortion. They think it's a euphemism for abortion, but it's really not.
There's a whole lot of reproductive rights.
There's a whole ton of shit involved in that, and it's also involved in the infertility treatments.
Sterilization.
Oh my God, that's
or the prevention of sterilization. That's a huge thing.
That is a huge thing. You schooled me one time about vasectomies. Thank you for that.
I did?
You did. I don't know if you remember it. I don't remember exactly what the thing was, but I said something about vasectomies. Like, I said they were easy or something to get, and you totally schooled me on it. So thank you.
I guess
for correcting that
it's
misconception.
easier than getting your tubes tied.
We were talking about access to it, though.
Oh.
But they're not as easy.
Yeah.
They're not super easy for some young guy to get.
Yeah. They're not just open.
Oh, I know that because Chris had difficulty with that.
I didn't realize that men were given some of the same shit that women are.
They are.
I didn't know, and Beth totally schooled me on it, and I just want to say I appreciate it. I like learning things.
Well, I don't remember that, but okay.
All right, so adoption, that's cool.
We haven't talked about foster care.
Yeah, foster care is another option.
To me, this is like a really hard option. I don't know if I'd be able to do it.
I already know I would not be able to do it. Basically, the option is you can basically register as a foster parent, and then depending on the state that you live in, however long this foster child has lived with you, you can then opt to adopt them later. But there's always going to be that impending, are they going to be taken away from you before the adoption process goes through? Which is similar to private adoption and other things too, unfortunately.
There's just so much with foster care that it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So I applaud those who are able to do it because it's needed. It's a service that needs to happen, but it's still, I don't know if I'd be able to. So
yeah, about 75% of foster kids are not currently eligible for adoption. Yeah. They're still in the trying to the family reunification phase.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's very important in the courts.
Adopt from foster care. The average age is something like 8. Yeah, and a lot of them are special needs. Yeah. Which that's great if you can do that, but that's a whole different ball of wax to adopt, an 8-year-old who's severely disabled or an 8-year-old who, has been abused. That's a whole different thing from, adopting a baby.
Yeah.
And you have to be prepared for that. And only some people are going to be prepared for that. And those people might be people that have had a lot of biological kids, not necessarily infertile people.
Yeah. People
are always putting it on the infertile. Well, why don't you adopt? Why don't you solve all these problems? And it's like, I have a medical condition that doesn't make me eligible or the right person to solve all the problems.
Yeah,
right.
And I don't want to. Sorry, go ahead.
you've had 3 or 4 biological kids, and you've dealt with this, and this. Why don't you adopt those kids that really need extra help?
Yeah,
I mean, not an inexperienced person like me.
That's another thing that I looked at when I looked at like the whole idea that, oh, you don't need surrogacy, you can do all these other things. And what I looked at was most of the kids that are eligible for adoption, like, there are waiting lists for adoption, but the waiting lists are for healthy children.
They're for healthy babies.
Healthy babies. Yeah. If you're willing...
healthy white babies.
Healthy white babies. Let's just...
Well, that's changed a lot. There are a lot of people doing transracial adoption.
Yes, it's gotten better.
Yeah, that part has gotten better. But the fact that it's still healthy babies in general is a big thing, because it's like, yeah, you could adopt tomorrow if you're willing to take on a disabled child, and not everybody has the resources to do that. And it's wonderful if you are able to do it, but raising a relatively healthy child is expensive as it is, so not everybody has the resources to raise a disabled child. I understand if you wouldn't choose it. Does that make sense?
I would much rather that you know about yourself what you can handle.
Exactly.
And don't take on more than you can handle than the other way around.
So if you're someone who's already had kids and you already know you can handle at least that, then I think you might be a little bit better prepared than someone who's never had kids to raise, a disabled child or something like that.
Or an abused child.
I think you might... I'm not saying that all infertile people have never had experience with children, but if you're just someone who's had more experience with children, I think you'd be a little bit more prepared than someone who hasn't, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I mean, adoption agencies, they don't want to give, special needs children to people that can't handle it, that don't have,
do not
resources for it. So it's not like, every young couple with infertility is, going to go down and get some 8-year-old special needs kid.
Yeah.
No, you can't
They want to give the kids to the parents that can handle them.
Yeah, they don't want that kid to just end up back in foster care or something again.
Yeah, it'll just be another traumatic experience again.
Because children, disabled people in general, but especially children, are at a higher risk of abuse than healthy children. And a lot of it has to do with resource allocation, and it's hard to deal with that sometimes. And I'm not excusing it. It's still, shitty. Don't fucking abuse your kid. But it does play into it, and especially since disabled children are often they're less able to articulate, tell people what's happening.
Yeah.
They're more vulnerable, basically. And I think that has more to do with it than anything else. But foster care and adoption, they're very particular about where those children go. So even if you are willing to not have, you're willing to have any child, not just a healthy baby, you still might be waiting a while. So
yeah, that's what pisses me off when people are like, oh, just adopt. Even if you have the widest net cast on what kind of child you want, you're still going to be waiting a while.
Yeah. So since we're discussing it, do you want to go right into shit fertile people say?
Yeah, I mean, we already talked about the other options, which are surrogacy and egg or sperm donation. So let's go into shit fertile people say.
All right.
The first one is, oh, just adopt.
Yeah,
that's easy.
Covered that.
We've pretty sufficiently covered that. We've also sufficiently covered, you can just do IVF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, this is the one that, never, ever, ever say this to an infertile person. You're lucky you don't have kids. God. Why the fuck would you ever say that to somebody who has just told you that they want kids and are unable to have them?
I mean, I think part of it is just kind of assuming that if somebody's infertile, they think maybe you think they think that babies are roses. oh, well, you know, babies are hard. Yeah, I kind of knew that. I still want one.
Yeah, I don't think anybody thinks that babies
Yeah.
are easy to deal with.
Nobody thinks that. I've never met a single person, ever, not even a small child, who thinks that babies are easy.
Yeah.
It's never happened.
I guess that's the sour grapes theory that, oh, well, if you can't have something, then you should trash it, and therefore you feel bad. You feel better about not being able to have it.
I guess. I don't know.
That's just not how that shit works.
It's not.
'Cause we see the good of having babies too.
And
then
you can't deny that there is good to it. So, yeah.
And tied in with this is maybe you're not meant to be parents.
Oh, God.
Which is like that whole if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, or if it's God's will, or whatever bullshit you want to put into here.
And this goes into something that I've thought a lot about with in regards to, like, if I just get pregnant and have a baby, nobody puts me through rigorous testing to see whether or not I should be a parent. But if you're infertile and you want to have a child, like, even if you go to the medical route, like, you heard all the shit you have to go through.
Yeah.
That Beth talked about. But if you want to adopt or do foster, you have all this sort of testing and stuff, which I'm not against. Yes, they should make sure you're not an abusive shit before they give you kids. But it's like saying maybe you're not meant to be parents. I'm like, are you telling me that abusive shit over there was meant to be a parent?
Yeah.
Are you telling me that? Because no, that's not okay.
Yeah, and don't go the genetic route. Like, you know, don't tell people if, oh, I'm sorry, you don't have genetically normal sperm. Guess it wasn't meant to be. I mean, fuck you. Fuck you.
More Captain Atheist McLogic Pants bullshit.
Yeah.
I've heard that shit.
I mean, it's not a eugenics, contest. There are lots of people that shouldn't be propagating their genes according to, whatever my standard is, and they do. And then there's good genes that I think should be propagated, but they can't because there's another gene fucking it up. So, yeah, don't even go that route.
Yeah, just don't even.
And then there are people that assume that stress, including career, this is split into two in the link that we
going to say, stress, career, diet.
People assume that that's the reason why.
Yeah.
I've actually heard people, not to me, because again, I'm not, as far as I know, I'm not infertile, but I've heard this line of reasoning before that people claim stress causes infertility, and so they tisk women who have stressful careers because, oh, that could have caused your infertility. Like, no, fuck you. No, it didn't.
The only thing stress can possibly impact is ovulation.
Yeah, and if you're ovulating,
that will force you to ovulate.
Yeah.
Okay, it will force you to ovulate through stress, and it's not like women in fucking concentration camps and stuff still ovulated.
Oh, and then there's
stress has a very tangential relationship to ovulation and egg quality.
Then there's the secret one, which is, oh, well, if you really wanted one, you'd have one already. Your mind is preventing you from conceiving. You're just not wishing hard enough.
That fucking positive thinking bullshit.
God.
Which is really just victim blaming wrapped up in a pretty bow.
It is.
That's all that the secret and all of that bullshit is.
Yeah. What about all the women who didn't want to conceive? Did they just secretly want to conceive?
I can promise you, there is no amount of positive thinking that's going to give me a uterus.
And really, the whole thing, especially since it's usually aimed at women, it's just another way to take agency away from women, saying, oh, well, you just don't know what you want.
Yeah.
Because if it's aimed at a woman who's infertile and can't conceive, then it's like, oh, well, you just don't want it hard enough. You don't know what you want. I know what you want better. If it's aimed at a woman who got pregnant but didn't want to be pregnant, they're like, oh, well, you just really wanted it. You don't know it, but you really wanted it. It's just taking away her agency altogether. It's fucked up. So, yeah.
Well, that ties into the don't give up, it'll happen. Which, not for all of us, dude.
Or
you should just be like, yeah, we try every week.
We try multiple times a week. It hasn't happened yet, but damn it, we're going to keep trying.
And that ties into adopt and you'll get pregnant. Which people
I've heard that one too.
That's another TV trope. I'm pretty sure.
There are people whose infertility is 100%. Even if it isn't, still, just don't even.
Oh, there was one I wanted to talk about. The secondary infertility. A lot of people tell a couple that finds out they're infertile, like they've had one child and
they're like, "What's the big deal? You already have."
Yeah,
a kid.
and then they want another one, but they can't have any more children, and they're like, "Oh, well, you should be grateful for what you have." Like, who said I wasn't grateful?
Right.
I wanted another one. That's how fucking grateful I was.
This is so awesome. I want to do it again.
Exactly. And I know women who actually enjoy being pregnant, and if they did it once and enjoyed it, and they could never do it again, it would be heartbreaking to them. So it's like, no, that's not okay to say to somebody.
Yeah, it's just not up to you how many kids somebody has.
It's not.
I mean, the fact that you had one kid, that's great. I mean, there are people that don't get that, but
some people want a big family.
That doesn't mean you get to quantify people's pain. You don't get to quantify people's pain and suffering and trauma.
It's also kind of like treating the child as like kind of quantifying children as well.
Yeah.
Like, well, you have one, that's cool, right? You don't really need more. I don't know. It has this weird vibe to it.
It's like the shit we've gotten into on our mental health series with the other people have it worse.
Yeah, that
bullshit.
Too.
Where they're like, well, you've got a kid, so stop your bitching, basically, is all that it is. And it's, don't tell me how to live my life, bro. The other,
at least it's not cancer is a big one.
Yeah, again, tying into the other people have it worse.
Sometimes it is, by the way.
Right.
Depending.
Fun facts, cervical cancer,
can make you infertile.
Uterine cancer, ovarian cancer.
And I'd like to say that just because there are some diseases that can cause infertility, and just because it's not cancer doesn't mean it wasn't terrible. So,
yeah.
How about you just, no, not with that.
Like PCOS is no bag of fun by any means.
Yeah, it's not.
Seriously.
It's not.
But it's not cancer, and apparently that's the universal mark for
the standard right there.
the industry standard. If it's not cancer, then you don't get to complain about it.
Oh, it's so related to your Facebook.
I know.
I'm sorry. Okay. This is just good advice for everybody. Stop giving unrequested advice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, put your legs up after you have sex.
Really?
Yeah, right,
I've never tried that.
I put my legs up when I'm having sex.
I just want to say, I'm thinking if a couple is infertile and they want to have children, I'm pretty sure they've gone through all of that.
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee you they know more about all that shit than you do. Miss, I just stopped wearing, I just made him stop wearing a condom for a month and we had a kid. I think they know better. So, yeah.
This one article has, stop assuming we don't want to hear about your pregnancy, but don't endlessly talk about your pregnancy. I don't know. I kind of agree and kind of don't. I don't know. I have a lot of mixed feelings about other women who are pregnant. It's been a long time since I used to feel like really angry or annoyed or jealous when I would see other women who are pregnant. I think I've gotten over that for the most part, but it still happens from time to time. I don't know.
Well, it's
it's just... when I see other women who are pregnant, it's just like, well, I'm glad for you, and I do like to hear a lot of the gory details. I have a friend who's pregnant right now.
Yeah.
But it's just... There was a time when, if you kept going on and on and on about it, I just didn't want to hear that shit.
Yeah, I think the only, my sister and Dirty Nerdy are probably the only people I could handle hearing a lot of details about being pregnant from.
Well, I guess I can kind of relate because I have this, I have a really big phobia of pregnancy. I don't know if it's quite to the point of phobia or not.
It might be.
It might be. I've told the boy I'm only willing to try it once. But it kind of, it squicks me out it's not squicky, it really is fear. Like, I start feeling like scared when women I know who have been pregnant or who are pregnant start talking in detail about their pregnancy. It doesn't matter if it's the happiest details ever. It doesn't have to be them talking about something going wrong in their pregnancy for me to start feeling scared. It can be them just talking about getting a routine sonogram or something, and it will, if they keep going on about it, it will seriously make me uncomfortable. And I'm like, I have to talk about something else for a while now.
Hey, how about that local sports team?
But yeah, especially talking about negative things to do with pregnancy or getting overly graphic about the actual birthing process kind of freaks me out a bit. And when I say a bit, I'm what's the word for it? Understating? It's an understatement. That's the word. So I can kind of, I understand. It's like, yes, you're my friend or family member, and you want to talk about this because it's important to you. I understand that, and you're happy about it. But after a while, I just need you to stop. So. And
then the last one we have is stop asking if we're pregnant yet.
Oh, God. Hey, Dory, when one of us gets pregnant...
It's the best quote we've ever had on the show.
That wasn't on the show.
We quote it on the show, though.
We do all the time.
Beth, have you heard the when one of us gets pregnant story?
Yes, I have.
I thought you had. I just love that without skipping a beat, Chris goes, uterine transplants are expensive. We're not getting into that.
And then I was like, oh shit. Right. I'm the only one in this room who can get pregnant.
As far as we know.
Yeah. I've forgotten before.
It happens.
Oh, I'm glad we can all laugh at my horrible social faux pas, and I'm sorry.
Hey, you're not the only one by any means.
Okay.
It's just the funniest time it's happened.
I think Chris's response really...
It sealed the deal.
Made it hilarious.
All right.
I think one time I was, I don't know, talking to Matt about something and thinking about periods or something, and I thought about you for just like a second, and then I was like, oh, yeah.
Well, she still gets the cramps.
I was going to say, I get a lot of stuff, just I don't have to worry about blood, so I guess there's that.
It's the worst part.
Yep.
You don't have to worry about the anemia.
Yep.
So do we want to go on to how do I sex now?
Yeah, any last minute things we want to do with infertility, or I think we've kind of talked about it.
I think we've gone there. Yeah. I'm drunky, so I don't know.
Me too.
We're pretty hammered right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's talk about masturbation.
Woo!
Specifically myths about masturbation.
Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about me and you. Wait, what?
Oh.
I was talking to my hand. I don't know what you were...
Oh, all right. Whatever works. All right. So the first myth is that masturbation's unhealthy.
Masturbation is super healthy.
It is super healthy.
All the time. It's like vitamins or something.
I mean, fuck, man. It can get rid of cramps. Like, that alone is enough to know.
Yep.
It gets rid of cramps, too. Just saying.
Yeah. What's funny is that back in the day, they used to actually prescribe masturbation and orgasms for women.
Yep.
To cure hysteria.
Wandering uterus.
My hysteria all day long.
I am constantly treating my hysteria.
I know. Hold on, I'll be in my bunk. Yeah, if you ever want to look at the history of dildos.
That's where it comes from. The wandering uterus.
I have a vibrator from the 50s that I bought at a church yard sale.
Nice!
That is hilarious. It's a medical device, guys.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of medical devices in my bedroom. My favorite is that not only does masturbating reduce stress and it can get rid of cramps, but it can lower for dudes, it can lower the odds of prostate cancer.
Woo!
And it's 100% safe. Can't get pregnant, can't get STIs.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're doing auto asphyxiation without, someone nearby, I don't see how it can be dangerous.
Yeah, like, really. It's like the safest sex act you could perform.
But we have to make people feel guilty for it, damn it.
Whatever.
For no discernible reason. Because, giving up stuff for the sake of giving up stuff is important. I never understood that.
That's what we settled on last week, right?
I never understood why you should stop doing something that doesn't harm you and actually makes you feel better just for the sake of seeing that you can stop doing it.
Because the Catholic law is if it feels good, stop.
Isn't that also the FCC's law?
Dirty, nerdy.
What'd you say, Beth?
Lust is a sin.
I sin all the time.
Do not touch yourself and lust.
Sorry, guys. Wandering hands and uterus tonight.
You gotta make sure your uterus is still in place.
Yeah, I'm just checking to make sure it's still there.
All right.
I'm just checking my cervix. Checking to see if I'm
If there's
ovulating.
cervical mucus for fertility awareness.
Yes.
If you're ovulating.
That's what I'm checking.
Or your basal body temperature.
With my vibrator. Alright. The next myth is kind of funny. People in relationships don't masturbate.
Whatever.
Yes, because people in relationships always want to fuck at exactly the same time all the time.
And masturbation is obviously only ever about whether or not you want to have sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that people in relationships actually masturbate more. They have sex more than people who are not in relationships and masturbate more. So basically, people in relationships are just horny motherfuckers. That's.
Yeah. I like reading the Captain Awkward blog. I love it. It's awesome. And they had one that I read recent. I don't know if it was submitted recently or if I just happened to come across it recently, where this girl who's in a relationship with a guy and they're about to move in, and they were just trying to get out in the open any tendencies that they have that the other person might not know about before they move in, kind of a smart thing. And she mentioned that she masturbates sometimes. It's just a way for her to relieve stress, and she likes doing it. And, it's no comment on him or anything. She just likes doing it. And he got super offended. He was like, I don't want to tell you not to because I don't want to be that controlling ass. And I'm just thinking, stop right there. Don't.
Yeah, then don't.
But apparently it makes him feel insecure, like he's not...
Well, then he needs to get the fuck over himself.
That's basically what Captain Awkward said. Oh, well, he can get the fuck over it. Or you can just, you don't have to tell him everything. We don't have to...
ever go out with somebody who doesn't accept that you masturbate.
Well, here's the thing. He even admitted that he masturbates, but he said when he part of it was that she this is what she said. She likes to watch gay male porn while she masturbates.
Guilty.
Guilty. What bi or straight girl doesn't want to see two hot guys? I mean,
go at it.
Erotica. I love reading erotica.
Me too.
Erotica's my favorite.
But apparently he claimed that every time he masturbates, he's just sitting there thinking about how much he wishes she were there. And I'm like, first of all, I find that... I'm highly skeptical.
I'm calling bullshit.
I am skeptical of this. And second of all, I'm sorry you're masturbating. You're masturbating for different reasons than she is. He's doing it because she happens to not be there. She's doing it because it's something that helps her relieve stress, like taking a hot bath.
Right.
And sometimes you do it at the same time.
Masturbating in the hot bath.
I prefer the shower, personally, but...
Hot tub, Beth, remember.
Oh, yeah, the hot tub.
Next AA convention.
AA.
Better have a hot tub again.
Y'all need to go to AA.
Just throwing that out there.
Well, now that we know, we'll make an effort.
Okay. So the next myth is that girls don't masturbate.
Well, that's bullshit.
That's bullshit.
Yes, they do.
This is when I like to throw out my mom's quote of, there are two kinds of people in the world, people who masturbate and people who lie.
Well, what's sad is that I didn't even know that when I was like preteen, teenager, I didn't even know that what I was doing was called masturbating.
Yeah.
I thought masturbating was specifically a guy handling his own member. I didn't know what it was called that I was doing, but I still felt incredibly guilty about it.
It took me a long time to figure out that I was masturbating, too.
It's like, what is this? It feels really good. I hope it's okay that I'm doing this. Oh, God, what if it's not?
I knew what it was because my grandmother used to watch Oprah and stuff, and even though she was super Baptist, she knew that masturbation was okay, and just to tell you to go do it in your room.
Yeah,
that'll tie in later.
Yeah, that'll tie in later. But yeah, basically, women and girls who masturbate have actually a higher self-esteem and better sex lives.
Yep.
So, I don't know which way that correlates, if girls with higher self-esteem happen to masturbate more often, or if it's the other way around, but, you know.
Either way.
Well, especially with girls, I'd like to say that,
well,
if you're able to get yourself off, you're
gonna say,
better able to communicate to your partner how they can get you off. So then you can have a better sex life overall.
Not only that, but there's other statistics that girls who masturbate actually put off having sex with other people for longer.
Because it's so awesome by yourself.
It's so much better by yourself. Why?
Like, I was giving myself orgasms by the time I was 13. I did not receive an orgasm from someone else till like 19, I think. I don't know. No, because I guess I'm forgetting my time with girls when I was pretending to be straight. I'll lower that age to like 15. I didn't receive an orgasm from a dude until I was like 19.
See, I quantify virginity as someone else giving you an orgasm. If
Yeah.
someone else gives you an orgasm, then that's your...
I still haven't gone back and run the numbers over
I lost mine
again.
at 13.
There you go.
Again. I haven't, like, ever since I rethought my entire stance and view of the whole concept of virginity.
Which we need a whole episode about.
I think we're gonna do a whole episode, like, next month or something.
Yeah, I think so.
But, I haven't gone back and redone my numbers. So when anyone asks, I still say I lost my virginity when I was 19. No, I was 18. I was almost 19. But really, I was younger.
By either of my definitions, it's 23 for me. But it is what it is.
Still awesome, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. I had a good time before then. I just, my partners didn't make me come. That's all.
Yeah. The next myth is, can you masturbate too much?
Only if it's...
Well, if you're not going to school...
Yeah, if you're not going to school or work, then yes.
If you're calling into work just to wank it, you might be masturbating too much. Just maybe.
To, take a break from jilling off long enough to go work.
Yeah.
Can we just come up with all of our...
3 times a day is fine.
I think during this segment we need to throw out all our euphemisms for female masturbation at some point.
Auditioning the finger puppets?
Yep, auditioning the finger puppets, waxing the dolphin.
Oh, that's a great one.
What?
You haven't heard of waxing the dolphin?
I masturbate.
Thank you, Beth.
I like using jilling off and auditioning the finger puppets myself.
I like those too. All right, here's a good one, and I've had people ask this a lot, not because they think it's really weird, but because they're just worried. Is it normal to masturbate before puberty?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Sometimes children as young as 2 or 3 will do it, and it's not necessarily...
If they're young enough to touch their genitals, then they're young enough to touch their genitals repeatedly.
Yeah. And it doesn't...
I never remember not masturbating.
I don't know what age I started, but a lot of people have this mistaken idea that it automatically means they're being abused.
Oh, that's just bullshit.
Basically, if your child is masturbating, all you really need to tell them is, hey, go do that in private. Go do that in your room.
It's okay to do that. Just do it in your room.
Just do it in your room. Other people don't want to see it.
Yeah. There's a reason why little boys keep their hands in their pants and little girls like their rocking horses. It's just...
Yep. Oh, shit.
Yeah, right?
My tricycle. Okay, let's not discuss that.
We'll talk about it after the show.
Okay.
I have a similar story.
Can masturbating with a sex toy give you an STI?
Only if you're...
it's been in another person's body exposed to the STI.
And very recently.
Yeah.
Because STIs don't survive outside of the body for very long at all. I mean, you should still clean your toys.
Yeah.
Like, because you could get an infection, not an STI, but you can get, like, you know, a yeast infection or something from not cleaning your toys, and that's never fun. So, still wash your toys, but you're not going to get an STI from one. Unless you're using it with another person at the same time. And then you're not masturbating anymore, so...
One of them is masturbation ruins sex.
Whatever.
Like,
it makes it better.
I've already orgasmed, therefore sex is ruined for me. And this is something that's brought up in the whole purity culture thing.
That's right.
It's their reason for why you shouldn't masturbate is because it will ruin sex for you somehow. It's like,
you don't have like a limited number of orgasms.
Well, I mean,
They're
guys
like
might within a certain
infinite.
period of time, but not girls, usually.
Oh, you got a refractory period? That sucks.
I'm gonna go hang out over here by myself for a while. You come get me when you're ready again.
When do lesbians stop having sex? When they decide they're done.
Well, I just don't understand that. It's like, if you're not comfortable even touching yourself, how are you going to be comfortable touching other people?
Well, and if you don't know how to come, how is your partner going to know how to make you come?
It's got to be like the most awkward wedding night ever.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yes.
Is it okay to masturbate on your period?
Fucking A.
Take out your tampon first, ladies.
Right.
I don't even understand how you can masturbate with it in there. It's like in the way. What are you gonna do?
Right. I mean, I guess it's
unless you're just playing with your clit.
Yeah,
if you're just playing with your
outside.
clit, then that's fine. But
which is all I do on my period, because I don't like getting my hands messy.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But I mean, otherwise, I don't understand how you could do anything else with one in. I don't get it.
Yeah, you'd have to take it out.
Yeah.
But,
If you're putting anything in there, you might want to, clear it out first.
Empty it out first. Can masturbation lower fertility?
Nope.
That is, oh my God, the mechanism of that is just it's stupid. It's stupid.
It's completely ridiculous for female fertility.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing involved that's going to affect your ovulation process.
I do not understand how that would affect it.
And in order for it to lower sperm count for men, they'd have to be masturbating, like, constantly.
Well, you need to actually come, like, when you're doing your sperm sample for infertility treatment, you need to come 3 days before and then come on the day of when you're going to go take your little cup in.
I didn't know that.
Well, there you go.
You can't just save it up because the sperm
I'm saving it up to get you pregnant.
Sperm need to be fresh. They need to be released. Otherwise, they just sit in your balls and die.
Go sit in your balls and die.
Damn lazy sperm.
Sounds metal.
Yes.
It just seems like another way to shame people for having an orgasm.
Or blame infertile people.
Yeah, or blame infertile people. Like, how dare you have orgasms? That's keeping you from having babies.
Orgasms are only for babies.
Some people say the opposite, actually. They're like, if the woman's having orgasms, they assume, I don't know. I've heard all sorts of shit surrounding this stuff. It's ridiculous.
Female orgasms are not that complicated. Like, really.
I don't know.
It's not a goddamn Rubik's Cube. It's pretty straightforward.
What was I matching all those colors for, then? I'm so confused now.
We've got one more.
Oh, I have another joke about the Rubik's Cube. Like, what?
Okay.
I like it as a sex toy. I just... got all those corners.
Those sharp edges doing a lot for you.
Sounds painful, actually. Okay,
probably have something more useful.
Right. One last myth about masturbating. Take it away, someone else.
What if I can't have an orgasm while masturbating?
Oh, well, if you want to keep doing it, just keep trying. And
yeah.
even if you don't, it still feels pretty good.
Exactly. Like, I think a lot of people get hung up on being able to come, and coming's great, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't happen all the time. So just relax and enjoy yourself, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world.
Kind of the same way for people who are worried that they're not orgasming, they're not having an orgasm during sex. It's like, well, try to relax and just enjoy it, and
yeah, like, I don't always have an orgasm during sex, but I still have a good time.
And a lot of women just can't orgasm during vaginal sex. Like,
yeah.
Most of your nerves are on the outside there.
Exactly.
You play with your clit.
Yep. Try different, toys or positions or think about different things or whatever it takes.
Fantasies, erotica, porn. It's always good.
Yep. Gay male porn. for the queer women, apparently.
We share so much on this show. Okay, so now I hope everyone knows a lot more about masturbating.
We should do a whole episode on just sex toys one of these days.
We should.
Oh, yes, dildos.
Dildos.
Didn't I write a blog about dildos once?
Yeah.
No, not dildos. Fieldos.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
My dick is a fieldo.
Yep.
I know all about that.
Dirty Nerdy and I are big proponents of those.
I am all about the fieldo.
Yep.
No, but I swear I wrote an entire article about sex toys.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
I wrote an entire article just about performing oral sex on people.
Awesome. We need to republish both of those articles.
Right?
All right. So that's it for masturbating. I know you're all upset about it and booing us right now, but it's cool because we got a new segment. I'm so glad you never played the kids cheering while we talked about masturbation.
No.
Can you masturbate? The question of can you masturbate before puberty? Yay!
That would have been the time to use it if I was going to.
Damn it. We always miss our opportunities. Alright, so this week, instead of a sexist song, we're doing a secret subversive song.
Yeah. Sticking it to the man.
In song, like a musical.
Yeah.
But it's Green Day.
Not like with a fieldo. That's different.
What? Okay, so our secret subversive song this week is King for a Day by Green Day, because neither of us realized it was all about being queer until recently.
Yeah.
It's kind of obvious now.
Caitlin and I had a conversation about the song, like, a few months back, where I was just looking through Green Day songs, and I was like, so I know the lead singer of Green Day is bi. I wonder if they have any queer songs, since he's
totally
queer. And they totally do. Like, I don't know how I missed these growing up, but...
We talked about one of them earlier today. I can't... What was the name of the song?
It's on the Dookie album. I can't remember.
He goes
Basket Case, I think.
Basket Case. He's talking about how I think it's the second verse, and he's like, he went to a therapist, and then he also went to a sex worker, and
the therapist, he uses female pronouns.
Yeah, and the sex worker, he uses male. Well, growing up as a queer kid pretending to be straight, I noticed that immediately. I was like, did he just say he went to a male prostitute? Like, what? And so I listened to that song a bunch, and I was trying to make sense of the second verse, trying to convince myself that no, he's straight. He can't be queer because, all queer kids pretending to be straight, including myself and Dory, will admit that at some point somebody they liked, like either a celebrity or a friend or something, came out as queer, and you try everything in your head to make them not queer. So for me, I analyzed this verse to the point where I realized that if you take every other line of that verse and like erase it, it still makes sense.
You were like re-diagramming sentences.
I was re-diagramming that fucking song, and I realized, I was like, so my whole, until I found out like for certain that he's bi, my whole interpretation of the song was that he was just having fun with pronouns. And
he was having fun with a lot more than pronouns.
Shut up! But yeah, that's another queer song, but this one is especially obvious.
Yes. Okay, so this is King for a Day by Green Day. Let's jump in.
Let's do it.
Remember when ska was a thing?
Aw, 90s. So cute.
Started at the age of 4. My mother went to the grocery store, was thinking through her bedroom door.
How the fuck did I not pick up on this growing up?
Dressing up in his mom's clothes. Not saying that every 4-year-old who dresses in women's clothes is queer, but, you know.
Most of them grow up to be straight. Not all of them, though.
But I'm gonna also throw it out there that most queer boys probably did this, so, you know.
Yep.
That was me!
Right.
I loved getting my action figures along with the Barbies, and they would all go on an adventure together.
Man, we would have made like the best friends growing up.
No, why did we know each other growing up? It would have been so much fun. Like, I had a little Spider-Man and a little Batman.
Me too.
And they would go on an adventure with the Barbie. Like, they would go fight crime together and then have tea. What?
My Barbie's all fucked. That's all they
So did, yeah.
I think everybody's Barbie's fucked.
They didn't fuck Ken. They fucked each other.
I was weird. I didn't know that fucking Ken was an option. I was like, oh, just these girls doing it. That looks right.
I'm pretty sure my sister and I knew that Ken was not interested, even at a young age. We knew that Ken was a friend of Barbie's, not her husband or whatever he's supposed to.
You know how little kids are expected to go through the cootie phase? I never really did. My mom said that.
Me either.
I never went through the cootie phase where I was afraid of boys and girls. I was afraid of boys. But I understood that I was supposed to because people would joke about it with me. Like, oh, you're afraid of boys right now, right? And I'm like, no, why would I be? I like boys.
I was a little slut in kindergarten. I kissed boys and girls.
But it made me think that for some reason, girls should be with girls and boys should be with boys. I went through a little weird thing where I was like, maybe girls are supposed to be with girls and boys are supposed to be with boys, and that's why everybody says this stuff. So when I had Barbie fuck, it was always with another Barbie. It was never with Ken. This is what your weird patriarchal games do.
This is how queer girls grow up.
Hey, I know plenty of straight girls that did this too.
I guess so.
All right.
So, just in case you missed it,
it's Princess by Dawn in a leather thong. Just wait till all the guys get a load of me.
You rock it, Billy Joe.
What'd you say, Beth?
Get a load in you.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Like, I don't think I could have found a queerer song than this.
I don't think so.
Like, seriously. He's cross-dressing and fucking guys. Like, rock on. Go. How did I not pick up on this as a kid?
I don't know. How did you rationalize this song?
Right? I mean, this was on Nimrod, so it wasn't even on, like, an obscure album. This is the one that had, like, Time of Your Life and a few other pretty big popular songs. And I know I listened to the song growing up, and I was like, I think I was just distracted by the trumpets, maybe.
Ooh, ska!
Yeah, ooh, ska!
It's like supertones, right? What are they going to talk about? Jesus.
This is Mighty Mighty.
Boss tones. Who's daddy?
God damn.
Open-minded kid.
My daddy threw me to a doctor.
The whole real man thing.
Yep.
I found out, like, in the last few years or so from my siblings, who I'm not technically out to, but I think most of them know. It's kind of obvious that apparently everyone was scared I was going to be a lesbian growing up because I was such a tomboy as a kid. Like, I would fight with my...
Tomboys grow up to be lesbians.
Right? I would fight with my mom, like, the only time she even tried to make me wear a dress was, like, on Sundays and really special occasions.
It better be Easter if you're wearing a dress.
Yeah. The only time I remember this fight was, I remember one Sunday I woke up and I thought it was a school day. So I got up, and I actually woke up early. I've always been, like, an insomniac. Always had a weird thing with that. So I never woke up early. But this particular Sunday I did, and I was so proud of myself. I was excited. I was like, oh my God, I woke up before everybody else, and I'm going to take my shower and get dressed and be ready for school. And Mom's not going to have to fight with me this morning over it. And yeah, I'm on top of this. So I got dressed in my jeans and t-shirt and sneakers, and I was like, yeah. And then she's like, no, go put on your skirt. It's Sunday. And I was like, what? No. And all hell broke loose. I was like, no, you don't understand what a momentous occasion this is. I woke up.
I've been adulting since I woke up this morning.
I'm a 7-year-old who was able to wake up on time. Not just on time, before all of you guys. That's the only time I remember it, but my mom says it was every Sunday. So
I have mixed emotions with dresses and skirts.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
I'm not allowed to wear dresses and skirts.
I know, you've talked about that.
I wasn't either.
It's kind of
now I wear them all the time.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I know you kind of grew up in, like, a conservative Christian home, and when you talk about that, that's kind of the opposite of what people think of when they think conservative Christian. They think they make the girls wear dresses. So.
Well, my grandmother had some sort of problem with, like, femininity. I don't know. It was weird.
Maybe she was a secret lesbian or something.
Maybe it was internalized misogyny. I had a lot of that growing up.
Yeah.
Where I realized that...
I think it was.
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of my problem is, like, still.
Yeah. Where it's kind of the idea that, oh, well, girls in society aren't valued as much, so if the women in my family act like girls, then they're not going to be valued, so I have to keep them from acting like girls. That's kind of how...
It was a weird balance.
Yeah.
It was a weird balance because, I would wear dresses to church, but I couldn't wear them anywhere else, and they couldn't be very frilly. And my hair was more femme than a boy's, but it was boy short.
Yeah.
And it was very, very strange because it couldn't be too feminine, but it couldn't be, like, tomboy masculine either.
Yeah.
It sounds like my hair growing up. It was as long as I could get it. But still boy short.
Well, I have difficult hair to work with to begin with. It's super curly and super thick and frizzy. And up until I was like 13, my mom insisted that I actually use a brush on it, which is the very worst thing you can do for curly, frizzy hair.
Yeah.
It just turns it into this massive triangle. And I was already the odd man out because it was red hair, too, on top of all that. So I looked like a goddamn clown. And I always wanted my hair really short. Like, I always wanted it really short. And finally, when I was in junior high, my mom let me do it. So for 2 years, I had super short hair. And I've already discussed a little bit how I was behind in the boobage area. till about freshman year of high school, which I guess isn't technically behind, but people saw it as that.
That's pretty on time, generally.
Yeah, but people treated it like I was behind in the area when it was perfectly normal. But it didn't help that I insisted on cutting my hair short at the time. And I was still dressing really tomboyish. I was wearing like baggy jeans, baggy shirts, you know. So other than my Hello Kitty backpack, God damn it, I was so queer.
You were so queer.
How did no one except my bullies realize this? Damn it.
I would have picked up on it pretty quickly.
Anyways, but yeah, so I had really short hair, and then I finally let it grow out, and then suddenly, the year after I grow out my hair, pixie cuts are in. And I was like, God damn it!
Yeah, I don't know that curly hair is going to work with that anyway, though.
No, I used to have, when my hair was short, it was kind of in a pixie cut. I would just have to straighten the front hair.
Oh, okay.
And it worked out pretty well. It was pretty cool. But either way, you know, once I became an adult again and was able to pick my own hairdresser, because part of the problem with having short hair at the time was the hairdresser was also against it. So I think he made it look crappy on purpose.
I'll show you, you damn kid.
I don't know if you've seen any pictures of me with short hair in junior high, but it looked like shit. And I'm like, what? Seeing what hairdressers have done, like, because I'm growing out my hair now for my wedding, but for about 5 or 6 years, I cut my hair really short because I was a server and I didn't feel like having to put my hair up in a ponytail every day. So just cut it really short. But now I'm growing it out and I'm kind of mad looking back. I'm like, I could have had an awesome hairstyle ahead of the curve, and instead I had a shitty boy haircut. But oh well.
Oh well. I think there's still more of the song.
Is there, or is it just repeating?
I don't know. Let's see.
Okay.
Either way, it's Green Day.
Green Day.
And it's not a sexist song, so we can enjoy it.
Air guitar.
I just love that it's sung to the queerest fuck.
I thought that was all one.
Generally.
Some of it is sexist as fuck.
Yeah.
I might cut that out.
One of these days we'll have to listen to queercore music.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Just from the name.
Yep. Hey, it's ska. Remember when that was a thing?
Yeah. I love ska.
I did too. I still do. Hives. No Doubt. Green Day. Mighty Mighty Boston. You did too. It's because I'm drunk. So are you. I want more queer, happy music in my life. I don't think we're going to be able to do the secrets of immersive songs as frequently as we can do the sexist songs.
No. Not as
I don't think there's as many of those.
Like, I was saying this week, just play any Nickelback song. If we're ever not sure what to use, just play Nickelback. Trigger warning, we're talking about Nickelback.
At least a content note.
All right. Beth, do you have anything else to add to our subversive song discussion?
No.
It's pretty excellent.
Oh, I like the subversive song.
That's my favorite thing ever now.
Okay. So that's all the time we have. I guess I'll do the outro.
Be sure to join us next week Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and on our blog at secularshethinkers.wordpress.com. I'm your host, Dory. Dirty Nerdy is our co-host. Beth Presswood is our special guest. Woot. Caitlin Fairchild is our Facebook admin and resident troll hunter. Our music included Iron Man by Soundjay, I Don't Know by Grapes, Spinnin' by Alex Baroza, and February Mumble Mix by Incoherent Mumble Train, featuring Calendar Girl. She Thinkers is sponsored by Audible.com and Be Secular. And now, in the interest of being fair and unbiased, here is tonight's counter-argument.
It's getting warmer, in Jupiter, and they don't have any SUVs driving around in Jupiter. I mean, it has nothing to do with greenhouse gases. It has to do with the action of the sun. It's either too much sun or not enough sun, but that's where the big driver of our climate comes from.
It's just hard to believe that there wouldn't be a lot of scientists in that international body that wouldn't stand up and say, wait a minute.
Think of how much money is involved. It's money. They're going to get a river of money. He said it was $250 billion. That is a tremendous amount of money.
And growing, yeah.
And growing. And so you fund these chairs in universities, you have think tanks discussing it, and then you have politicians who want to take control. And the progressives always want control, just like this health care initiative, they want control. The EPA in America wants control of all of our energy, our carbon emissions and all this. They want to control oil and gas, they want to control coal, they want to control these things. And this is a wonderful way to get control.
What the fuck did you do? I gave this to you, motherfucker. Are you crazy? The polar bears are brown. What did you do to the polar bears? Did you shit all over every polar bear? Who did this? Who spilled this shit? Who spilled this? Come over. Did you fucking spill this? What is that?
It's oil. It's just some oil. I didn't mean to spill.
Well, why did you take it out of the fucking ground?
Because I wanted to go faster.
I'm not fast enough. And I was cold. What the fuck do you mean cold? I gave you everything you needed, you piece of shit.
Hey, we're
Hey.
back.
Easter egg time.
Easter egg.
So Beth, what do you think about when you masturbate? I'm making you go first.
I think about usually a dom sub situation with me as the sub.
Nice.
Same. I usually masturbate in the shower too. That shower head, man.
I know, detachable shower heads are amazing.
For real.
I can say that ever since Skepticon, David Fitzgerald, this goes out to you, man. I think about Mormon boys a lot when I masturbate now.
Oh, those are great. Those
Yeah.
are great.
I can't see Mormons walking down the street in their cute little outfits without thinking, God damn it, I want to seduce you. Thanks, David Fitzgerald, putting that in my head.
I'm going to throw a shout out to the Kiss Me Quick podcast. 'Cause most of the time when I masturbate, I think about there's a couple erotica stories she has. One of which is about it's a lady loving lady story that involves a strap-on, and then there's another one that it's like a dom sub relationship. They're both fucking amazing, so you should check out that podcast. It's mostly straight, but you know I'm bi, so I'm down for those too. Yeah. They're also really sexy, and they're like sci-fi stuff thrown in there for good measure from time to time too. So that's fun. Fucking in space. That's cool, right? Yay.
So is that it then?
Yep.
All right. Well, good night, everybody.
Time to go, take care of